Oh, you put me in the light. Hasai fi mei chashmatim. Ufoi tzufoi moi snigdolai. Vetimu kol hashnonim. Oh, you put me in the light. Hasai fi mei chashmatim. Ufoi tzufoi moi snigdolai.
Hello, welcome to everyone who is joining us this Erev Thanksgiving. Thanks to everyone who made it out to Zoom to learn some Torah before Thanksgiving. We're learning Derech Hashem. We're in the middle of learning about the Shema. We're on page 511 in the Name and Edition, which is part 4, chapter 4, number 1. So last week, we were talking about the Shema, which we say twice a day. It's a Torah mitzvah to say twice a day. And when we were kids, we just learned, we say Shema to say that God is one. It's simple, right? There's one God and not many gods. So that's obviously true. But we started learning last week is that there are many deep ideas included in this idea, this statement that we make that God is one. Hear, O Israel, Hashem is our God, Hashem is one. So what does it mean that Hashem is one? What are all the ramifications that Hashem is one? So we talked about last week what that means is that the only independent power in the world, in the universe, is Hashem. Everything else that exists is dependent on Hashem for their existence. Hashem is a being which his existence is necessary. His existence is not dependent on anything else, whereas all of us, everything which exists in the universe, the angels, humans, nature, everything only exists because it's dependent on God. Not only that, God didn't just make the world at one point and walked away, but rather, He constantly is willing the world to continue to exist. He's constantly putting the spiritual energy into the world to keep its existence. So page 511. Another thing which is included in this deep idea, is the revelation of the truth of Hashem's oneness. Sheklal kol hamasibos hasayvim ba'olam who shehine bara habari yisbarach v'zeh kihine kvar b'yonu sheklal kol hamasibos hasovim ba'olam who shehine bara habari yisbarach as hara l'she'aviru b'nei ha'adam. You know what? I think I started from... I'm sorry, no, we're at the right place. I apologize. We're at the wrong place. I thought I started at the wrong place, but we are on the correct place. Hashem put into the world evil. Evil. That human beings should erase the evil from the world. That is something that Hashem did. Okay. That human beings should set in the world good. Vihine, chukim rabim ushrashim gedolim hushushu be'inyan hazeh l'sheyishtalim b'chol chalokov u'b'chinaisov. And he put many. I really think I started in the wrong place. Second. No. What? Yeah, no, I don't know what because I spaced out. Good thing no one else was here this week. I would have had fudged it. Dun, 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 dun. The tape I'm not worried about. I could just erase this part. Yeah, that's why. It's your fault.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start again from this paragraph. All right? All right. What's included in this topic, is the revelation of Hashem's oneness. So we're going to see how Shema is tied to this revelation of Hashem's oneness. We've already talked about that a principle for all the movements that occur throughout the world is that Hashem created evil. There's something called evil in the world. You don't need to look too far to find it. But Hashem put evil in the world for the purpose that human beings eradicate the evil. That they should set in the world and in the creation good. So evil was created for the purpose of human beings to eradicate the evil and establish the world for good. V'hine, chukim rabim, u'shroshim gedolim, hushrashu be'inyan hazeh. There are many laws and roots to this matter. So that it may find its completion with all its components and dimensions. There are many details about the existence of evil in the world, what it can do, what it has power over. Also, there's a lot of details in how human beings relate to evil. Regarding being placed, that human beings are subject to evil and they are influenced by evil. And how human beings can overcome evil and overcome it and subdue it and unshackle themselves from evil. His pashto his chasko kfi hakana harav v'hikavsho. And for goodness to prevail, the goodness which comes about and spreads throughout the world is dependent on how much evil is subjugated. So God created something called evil, and He wants human beings to eradicate the evil so that they can be kaiveya, they can set up good in the world, and that the good will spread. And that the goodness spreads depends on the subjugation and the eradication of the evil. Va'amnam. Shorish kol metzius hara, the source of all evil, pu'ulosa v'shlitaso, hu helam habari yizbarach es yichudo. The source of all evil is Hashem, quote unquote, hiding Himself. Hester panim we'll call it. She'eno mizgala ba'otzem amitaso lakol. Hashem is not showing His full strength of His truth. And according to the level which Hashem hides Himself, that is the level of evil which will exist. Like we mentioned in the first section. And the root of eradicating evil and taking it away from the world and setting up good is revelation of Hashem, of the truth of Hashem's oneness. So, human beings are put in the world. We're supposed to eradicate evil. 2, evil comes about from Hashem's oneness being hidden. Good will come about by Hashem's oneness being revealed. And this is in the pasuk, in the verse in Devarim, that I am Hashem. The Kasav, it says, Laman Teidu v'taminu, in order that you should know and you should believe. Lefanai lo notzar el v'acharai lo yeh. There's no God before me, and after me there's nothing. V'nimsa shesof tikun kol abriya tali begido giloi yechudo yizbarach. And we find that the rectification of the whole world, the whole universe, is the revelation of Hashem's oneness. V'hine, hu haya hayve v'yetamid. He always was, is, and always will be, always. Echad yachad miyuchad, one, singular, unique. But now, it's not apparent to people the way it should be. Right? Now, you look in the world, as we mentioned, and there's evil in the world. There's very bad things happening. Very evil, horrible, terrible things. So it makes it look, to the untrained eye, that God forbid, it looks like that God is not in control, because evil is existing. But in the world to come, Hashem's oneness will be revealed to all of creation. So while now people have the ability to deny Hashem because they have an excuse, there's evil in the world, it has the appearance that there's not one God, that there's an independent source of evil. In the world to come, after Mashiach, it's going to be obvious to everybody that there's one God. Kamosha Katzov, like it says, everyone's very familiar with this pasuk. On this day, God will be one and His name will be one. Right? He's one now, but then people will recognize. Right? We say and Elenu. Amnam Yisrael. So, right. So even though we know the truth that Hashem is one, it's not apparent to everybody. It will be apparent when Mashiach comes. Amnam Yisrael, but the Jewish people, Shezachu Torasa Amitis, that merit to have the true Torah, Ya'idim Ha'emes, they know the truth. And they testify on this reality now. V'hinei humasha amar kasav, this is what the pasuk says. Ve'atam eidai ne'um Hashem, you are my witnesses, saith Hashem. V'zeh zechus gadol, and this is a tremendous merit for us. So the idea of Shema is that we are testifying to the fact that there is one God who is in control, and He is the only independent power. Evil is something which He Himself created that human beings should destroy, but is not an independent force in and of itself. And that one day the world will recognize this fact. But the Jewish people have what he calls a schus gadol Ramchal, a tremendous merit that we testify to this oneness of Hashem now in the time of Helam Yichudo, where Hashem's oneness is hidden. We testify to the truth of His oneness that will only be obviously revealed to everybody else when Mashiach comes. The world is broken up into different ways Hashem deals with the world. One is the way of day and one is the way of night. Like we mentioned in the third section. And every morning and every evening, and every morning and every evening, the angels who are appointed over that time are set up to do what they have to do, according to the way that they operate. The Jewish people, we are required to testify to the unique oneness of Hashem in every aspect. Perish, what does it mean to testify about Hashem's oneness in every aspect? The reality. One is what we discussed before, that God is the only necessary creation, that He's not dependent on anything else. And everything that exists, that we come from, that we are dependent on Him for our existence. Or whether that's one aspect. The other aspect is His control. He is the only one who's in control of anything. Only independent power. And anyone, whether it's a person, an angel, an animal, can only do anything because Hashem gives them the power to do it. Or how He runs the world. Even though the Hanu Yisbarach Shemo HaMesavev Esakol El Tachlis HaShlemus Amiti V'Afal Pi She'ein Davar Zeh Goliata Be'emes Hinei Amita Zadavar Kachi V'chein Yigala V'Yivada B'Sova Kol. That the Hanhaga, this Yichud of Hashem's Hanhaga, is that even though now it is not apparent that God is one, but La'asad Lavu, in the world to come, after Mashiach comes, it will be apparent to all that God is one. So he says here on the bottom that, just like the Ramchal mentioned before, that the purpose of human beings are here to eradicate evil. When we say Shema and we testify to Hashem's oneness, that helps to eradicate the evil and to actually bring the world to perfection. So we think we're saying Shema. We're just doing a mitzvah. We're saying, yeah, God is one. He's one. That's nice. It's not two. The same thing since I was a little kid. But no, if we realize that the whole entire purpose of the world, evil exists. Why does evil exist? Because Hashem is hiding Himself. And the whole purpose of humanity is to eradicate that evil, which comes about through Hashem's revelation. So every time we're saying Shema, we're bringing the world one step closer to its perfection. We're testifying to the fact that Hashem is one, meaning that He's the only necessary existence. Two, that He is the only one that has any power, and any power, including the forces of evil, come from Him. They can only exist because He allows them to exist. And we testify to that. And when we testify to that, we are strengthening the forces of good. We are causing Hashem's revelation to come into the world, and thereby bringing the world to its final completion. What's that? That's when the entire world will recognize that the whole world will recognize that Hashem is one and God is one. So if we think about this before we say Shema, how much more meaningful Shema would be. Okay. Excuse me. Excuse me, sorry. Rabbi Naaman cites here that we say Shema in the morning. That's when we take leave of the king to start our mission throughout the day, and we say Shema in the evening before we are returning to our to Hashem after completing our mission. Which is an interesting thing, but very very deep ideas. And this I think the idea of learning these things in the Ramchal is when we learn about the meaning behind the mitzvahs, then our Shema now tomorrow morning should be a new Shema. It should be a whole new experience for us. With that, thank you to everyone for coming. Appreciate it, and have a happy Thanksgiving.